Double Up is finally getting a patch where armories are getting nerfed. They can no longer give any spats or emblems, every option will cost more gold, and overall armories just give away less loot. And this is kind of funny when you think about that Double Up's last patch was the introduction of armories themselves 14 months ago at the launch of Set 8. But gift armories are a problem that need to be fixed, so even though we've not seen much change in Double Up for a long time, I'll gladly take these changes. But there's been a lot of contention and people only love or hate this change. Why is that? What are the other problems of Double Up, and would Double Up ever see any proper love? Like how I'll love it if you hit subscribe. So there's already been a lot of discussion and discourse about these changes on both Reddit and Twitter because there seems to be two groups of people who play and love Double Up. The first group are those who see Double Up as a for fun game mode and love getting tons of loot like gold, items, artifacts, spats, emblems, whatever, and creating absurdly strong boards that you would not be able to do in a normal game mode. But there's also those who want to climb competitively because Double Up has a far higher skill expression ceiling than normal TFT as you're playing with one more player. But generally both groups love to play with their partners, friends or otherwise, and Double Up is the only mode that satisfies that. But these changes heavily reduce loot acquired from gift armories, and so a lot of players are unhappy because now Double Up will not be remotely as fun anymore. Especially since the big verticals like Heartsteel seem impossible to hit now. And for some, that means that the replayability of the set suffers tremendously because games are less unique and insane. And I can understand where these players are coming from because in the few actual patches Double Up has gotten over the years, they've mostly just been nerfs to the unique systems in Double Up. Of course we have the current situation where armories are getting nerfed to address the power bloat, but back in Set 8 there was also nerfs to Rune of Allegiances and they were completely reworked and hard nerfed so you could no longer send any items, and this was to address the toxic funneling strategy. And I believe in both Set 7 and Set 6 reinforcement timings were also nerfed. So if you've been a dedicated Double Up player over the years, you could notice how it became less unique and interesting because those unique systems were nerfed and we've not seen anything new in a long time. In fact, my Double Up teammate feels the same way as these players, so I understand the frustration because it seems like the game mode is getting worse. But personally, I'm in the opposite camp. I'm actually a huge fan of these changes because it was always cringe having to worry about someone easily hitting a prismatic trait. With this change, prismatic traits can actually be rare like they're supposed to be and you won't see them every other game. Getting one spatula at Carousel was already ridiculously powerful, but then when you combine that with the other spats and tomes, it was just ridiculous. These vertical traits are literally better than everything else, so if you ever get a spat, then you should just always play them, even if you've already invested into another comp. That is just a terrible, terrible meta because it always boils down to the same question. Do you have a spat? So addressing the spatula issue is great, and I'm really glad these changes are here. But also lowering the strength of the other options is very good too because the difference in power between them was just so high. Like, why would you ever give your teammate a unit and some gold when you could easily give them powerful items? The choice is just so obvious here. But now with this change, there's significantly less power in the other options, but also giving a unit is now overall much better for your team as you'll end up gold positive with the change. But generally these nerfs result in less power bloat, which means Double Up is far more fair to every player, which in turn means that the game mode is more competitive and the meta improves. But to some, that means the game mode is less fun. So again, while I agree with the changes, I also agree the game mode is less fun now. Which leads me to wonder whether Riot want Double Up to be a competitive game mode or a for fun game mode. But regardless, Riot should really stop removing things from Double Up without putting anything back in. And that brings me to my next point, and that's the fact that they just don't really have anyone working on Double Up. Back in Set 8, I made this video talking about all the problems in Double Up, and honestly, all those issues and complaints still hold true to this date. And one thing I want to specifically highlight from that video is that back when Riot decided to keep Double Up, they said that they're working on making lobbies of more than 2 players. But more than 2 years later, we've yet to see anything more about that. But why do I highlight this goal specifically? Well, back when League's new game mode, Arena, came out in July 2023, there was a massive request for the feature of being able to queue with more than 2 people. And they did exactly that, and Riot added that feature on the next version of Arena 4 months later. Meanwhile, we haven't seen that same feature for TFT in more than 2 years. So this is clearly not a question of capability or feasibility, but manpower. I mean, the tech is already there and they can import it straight from Arena, but they don't have anyone to do that. But maybe they didn't want to add this because they want Double Up to be more competitive than fun, but again this comes down to the question of whether or not Riot want Double Up to be competitive or fun. And I don't think we'll find out about which direction they want to take Double Up until they have more people working on it. And I have no clue when that's happening, it may not even be in this year. But that makes me even more thankful that Mortdog pulled through and made these changes to Double Up. So thank you Mort for making these changes. it does make me a bit sad to see you apologize for something that was probably completely out of your control. But Double Up still has quite far to go because again, it's been a long time and the video I made back in set 8 is still relevant now and those problems still exist in Double Up. I personally don't think we'll see any Double Up changes this year, but I am still looking forward to the future of Double Up as it's my favourite game mode. But with that, I should pass over the questions to you guys. What are your thoughts on these changes to Double Up? When will you think we'll see more changes to Double Up? And do you think we'll ever see competitive tournaments specifically for Double Up? Let me know in the comments and remember to subscribe. Anyway, check out these other videos if you want to see more from me. And as always, thank you for watching and I'll catch you in the next one.